needed a button. Grace? Grace? Who's the frog? That's the frog detective. Big Larry. La la la. 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 You know what I mean? Friday. Do 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 do. Be do do do. Hello. Welcome to my live stream. Be do do do. My name is Abby Russell, and I'm about to play some Hitman number 1. Big Larry. La la la. 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 Hello gamers! Hello everyone! Hope we are doing well. Hope we are having fun. My name's Abby. We're not starting quite yet. We have 4 minutes and then we're gonna start. I hope everybody's doing well. I have to say, it has been a very productive day for me, which always feels really fucking good. You know, it's like some days I'm like, oh shit, I should have done all that. And other days I'm like, I should have done all that, and I did it. And today's one of those days, and it feels really good. I did get my stamps. I was going to show them off on stream, and I'll say more later. Anyway, I am very happy I got stuff done. I had a couple trips I had to book because I'm in a couple of weddings this year. And another one was I just had to go on another trip. Don't sue me, don't be mad. Anyway, I booked both trips with my airline tickets. 2 full trips. I only paid $60 in fees, which feels pretty friggin' good because I had the points because I haven't traveled in a long time. What a victory indeed. It felt good. I got both booked. I like checked in with everybody I'm staying with. Everybody knows I have like a ride to the airport. It's like we are good to go. You know what I mean? And one trip for a wedding, it's not to dox myself here, but it's in Denver. I've never been to Colorado. So I booked it for a longer trip. And there's a concert at the start of it and at the end of it. And I'm going to go to both concerts. Like I get there, I go to one concert, have a wedding in between. Here we go.
A whittle babby.
Nice. Thank you, Chaotic Hunger. Oh my god, 9 months. I have to update the thing for you. You'll have an updated thing later. I must do it. Anyway, we have one concert, start of trip, wedding that I am in. Hope you're excited for me. And then another concert day before I leave, which is pretty fun. And I'm going to do some touristy stuff in between. If you guys have any recommendations for Denver, I am all ears. Super Tess, thank you so much. Another 9 months. I got to get that thing going. I got all the emotes done, but I forgot to do the badge, the subscriber badge. Ugh, that's okay. I can do it soon. Have to add hair or something. I guess probably like a little beard will be good. Spoiler alert. Beard incoming. Anyway. Yeah. You know, it's sort of all there is to say about it, I guess. But really good productive day. I'm like finishing up all my visa application stuff, which is really exciting. So come July, shipping it out. Also, if I have any printer heads in the room, I have to have special paper. I have to put on A4 paper, which is different than letterhead paper. If I just like put A4 paper in my printer, will that work? And like tell my computer like it's A4 paper? Or is that like not a thing you can do with printers? It's my question for all of you. I know you all are printer freaks. You just love your printers. So I figure you're printer experts. Should be able to tell your printer is A4 paper. That's what I like to hear. Tanuki suit, you said what I want to hear and I'm just going for it. And that's how I feel about it. Okay. Shall we get started? It's 8 p.m. on the nose. I'm going to get started. Hello. Oop.
Oh, hello. Jeez.
Ooh,
oh
thunderclap. Boom, 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 boom. I'm thunder.
I was just talking about the storm, Abby.
Nice. I'm showing my desktop paper. I'm letting people know so they're not alarmed with how it looks. Yeah, it's storming here too, which is fun because we don't live in the same country.
We sure don't. Trying to figure out, I did all that big talk earlier about how I figured out voice meter and everything, and I don't know if they can hear you. Yeah, they say they can't hear Abby, which is perfect.
Okay, well let them know I'm saying stuff that's smart and fun.
Yeah, Abby is saying stuff that's smart and fun, everybody, just so you know.
Hearing you repeat it back makes me feel stupid.
My intention has become clear.
Yes. While you're figuring that out, I am going to show off the stamps I just purchased on stream because they are fucking cool stamps. Okay?
Ooh, absolutely.
Here we go. Boop. They are Sun Science stamps. They are foils. I don't know if you can really tell, but they're like shiny foily. And I'm like, do I want to send a rent check with these? They're too nice. They don't deserve it. I probably will anyway because I can't find my freaking America stamps. Where are they? I'm going to find them the second after I mail the stupid check. Anyway.
I see Abby's fancy stamps so bad. Oh, I just clicked over and saw them. They look cool as hell.
Yeah, aren't they neat?
Abby's showing off cool stamps, everybody. Click on the squad stream now.
Wow, Lion Bite says full audio here, I see. Trader, I support it.
Listen, I am trying my best.
You might be able to put me in like a different like channel on the voice meter, not to backseat you. I'm sure you got it going on, but
I mean, you're a professional producer, so I'm going to trust your advice on this one.
I feel like voice meter, I know there's a way. There's also like the sort of B channels. It's kind of hard to talk through on without looking at it. Yeah.
Blind by the seat of my pants, but I'm going to figure it out one way or another.
Okay, well, while you do that, I'm going to talk about our Donna Howell Sickles painting that we're working with from reference. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make it big on my screen. So we are doing a master's study, which Matt knows all about, and he will teach us. And this is what we are going to master, which is this Donna Howell Sickles art. Donna Howell Sickles rules. She paints a bunch of cowgirls, and I chose maybe the only one that doesn't have a horse in it for Matt.
Yeah. I definitely figured out the audio thing. Thank God. I
That's
wasn't paying
good.
attention to what you were saying at all. So if you would very kindly repeat what you were talking about, that'd be fantastic.
I was talking about the thing we are painting. I was showing it off, and I let everyone know I chose the one Donna Howell Sickles painting that doesn't have a horse in it just for you.
Yes, and I am very appreciative of that. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to start working on this thing. Once again, anyone who is in here and would like to join my Discord, come to my chat and type !Discord in the chat, and you can get in. And in my Discord, I have put very helpfully in the art references section this painting that Abby's talking about. So if you're not on her stream, she's got it up on her stream because she's a very good streamer. Over on mine, I'm just going to direct you to my Discord in a vain attempt to get more people on my Discord, I guess.
I support it. Go to that Discord. Nice. Thank you for the kind words. I am Jowins. Anyway, what's fun is, I also want to say thank you to the Chickaroy team at Finji Co.
Abby, it's
fuck, I really am not doing it on purpose. Anyway, they sent me these watercolors, which is why we were able to do this today. So thank you so much. Also, so this is like they sent me this paper, which was like a postcard. They sent me these 2 paintbrushes. I have like a square one, Matt, and like a pointy one. I don't know what to call them.
I'm seeing them. They're very tiny flat. I don't think I've seen a flat that small in a long time.
Is this small? Oh, also don't look at my chipping nail polish, okay?
Yeah, don't look at mine either. This is one of the smallest flats that I have.
And I should pull up your stream because I can't. I want to see it. Hold on. Let me go. How do I look at Matt's stream? Twitch.
Well, let me tell you, twitch.tv/EiffelArt is the place to go. Or for anyone watching at home on either of our streams, check out the squad stream.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, yours is definitely bigger than mine. Also, I'm painting on like a postcard-sized paper. I don't know what you're painting on, but they gave me 4 colors. So these are the 4 colors I'm using. It's sort of like they're very neon. It's like a yellow, a green, a pink, and a blue. And I think that's why the Donna Howell Sickles is going to go pretty well, because her stuff is like kind of minimal colors, which I think will be good for us.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm pretty close to matching your colors. So I went into my jelly gouache. I have the Artex jelly gouache here.
Oh, you already did your little border.
A deep magenta, a yellow, sort of a lemon yellow mix, medium green, and a cerulean blue. And I've also got a white, because the colors Abby has are very, very bright, very not pastel, but neon. So I'm going to try to tint them all up. I've got very strong saturation colors. I'm going to tint them a little bit with some white.
Also, everyone, I don't have a straight edge, so I am using an unopened external CD drive to get the border looking nice. Sue me.
Yeah. That's pretty much the intended use. Wow, you're getting a good straight edge on that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to bother with the straight edge till we start doing those background details, but I am going to go in straight with a graphite pencil, which I do not ever do on paintings, but this painting very clearly has pencil marks over the top of it. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Matt, do you want to describe what a master's study is?
Absolutely. So I've never been to art school. I have 0 qualifications to answer this, but to my knowledge, a master's study is an attempt to understand what someone who made a famous painting was thinking and the techniques they were using. It's trying to get... Oh.
What?
Thank you very much, Evie, for the sub. It's reading out a nice message to me. Thank you very much.
Here, I'm the message. Beep, boop, boop, boop. I'm a robot. Matt, I love your paintings.
I finally turned on the robot voice because I saw it on your stream specifically. It's fun. And I was like, that is super fun. So I turned it on. But
yeah, it's a good time.
So yeah, it's an attempt to understand the struggles that they went through when they were trying to attempt to do their thing. Because there's a lot of, like, to me anyway, this is my sort of take on a master study. There's a lot of mystique behind famous art where it feels like it comes fully formed out of the ether. And I think that's kind of an unfair or a bad, maybe sometimes unhealthy approach as an art viewer, because it takes away from all of the studying and the experience and the time that an artist puts into those things. So it's kind of just putting yourself in their shoes for a while, trying to understand why they did what they did, and hopefully in the process, pushing yourself to expand your own horizons. Which is why I'm particularly excited about this picture that you picked, because I never in a million years would have picked this. There's just so many artists to choose from. I hadn't heard of this artist. I know
I
that you
love
had
her.
mentioned
Yes.
her a few times in the past, but I hadn't really seen any of her stuff, and that's why it's so exciting to be confronted with a challenge like this. Is because I can already see at least 3 different things. Oh, once again the robot.
Speaking before, okay, I'll let your robot talk. Ooh woo gamers.
Stay
Anyway,
safe and hydrated.
I see your drawing already. Should
Yeah,
I
just
start doing
lightly
that?
sketching.
How do you
I
know where to
mean, yeah.
start?
Do you wanna try and figure out an approach to your drawing? What's your
I don't
natural
know.
inclination?
I
Like, where do you
guess.
feel like?
I mean, I feel like you. I'm like maybe I should start with the face, or like maybe I should just get all the straight lines in, like so I know where like the border at the bottom is, and like the sort of rectangle thing in the middle, just so I have. I think it might help me with sizing and proportions.
Yes, anchor points are very important.
Okay.
Landmarks that you can use to find different places. It's a really good idea. So, like the horizon line,
Yeah, I'm gonna do the
definitely a natural
horizon line,
one.
which is I guess sort of like maybe a little less than like a third of the way down the page.
I guess I also need to keep in mind that the picture that you sent is not as long of a rectangle as the sketchbook that I'm using.
Yeah, I think I'm
nor
kind of in the
nor is it
same
quite
boat,
the same.
but
Yeah, it's not quite the same as the postcard you're using either. So you got to kind of like maybe shorten it a little bit on one of the sides. I'm going to shorten it up here just so I can get a bit more proportion. But I love the first thing that struck me on this painting is these geometric shapes. There's like these triangles
yeah,
in
it's
the
fun.
sky. It feels so. Do you know when this one was painted?
I have no idea at all.
It feels like such a like 70s and 80s aesthetic thing to have these little geometric shapes on a line.
There's like in the bottom corner, it looks like maybe 91 because I'm
Yep,
looking at her signature. It looks like 91 in the corner there.
that definitely tracks.
Everybody
I
loves
feel
your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle rulers.
thank you
I
very
call
much,
them
everybody.
Turnals, but you know what
Yeah,
I
the
mean.
Turtles, the Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
Um,
Turtles.
yeah, I got this in 1989 when I was going to grade primary. It's my very first year of school.
Whoa.
My dad bought it for me. It has my name on the back. That is definitely my dad's printing. He always wrote in very big block lettering.
Wait, can I
Still does,
see?
I
Oh,
presume.
I
I haven't seen
see.
him write in a long time.
My dad
Um,
also writes in block lettering, and everyone thinks he's an architect because it's really neat and like kind of stylized. He's a big design nerd, and I remember one time I talked about how much I love the design of something, and you're like, "Ugh, I forgot you like design."
wait, I did?
Yes.
That sounds right.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
my dad's an
So,
engineer as well, but everyone thinks he's an architect. Maybe it's an engineer thing to have like specific kind of handwriting.
it
Anyway, I
might
guess I'm gonna
be.
start drawing the hat. It's a little scary, but here we go.
So the thing I like to do when I'm trying to map out
Mm-hmm.
big shapes like this, the hat is a very important one in this picture, by the way, because if you squint your eyes, the squint test is the true test. I'm pointing at my screen as if anyone can see what I'm pointing at, but I'm pointing at the painting. The hat is the highest contrast thing in the entire painting, other than the lines on the blanket at the bottom of the painting. So
Oh,
it's
at the
kind of a
bottom
key
of the line.
figure. It's a focal point, and all of the animal shapes you'll notice are pointing toward it. So the ear on the dog to the right is like pointing up. The crow flying down, the other crow at the bottom with its entire body length is pointing up to the hat, and then the other dog is looking directly at it, which is kind of also in that thing.
I like the way you think, Matt. You're 2 steps ahead of me, which is nice. Okay, I'm kind of fucking up this hat, but I'm gonna keep going anyway. It's really getting proportions is like always so tricky.
It is. It's terribly tricky. Always has been, always will be. Even seasoned painters struggle with it immensely.
Definitely using the old eraser on this bad boy.
Mm-hmm. Right there with you, buddy. Now, this painting, do you know if it was done in oils? Was this or is it a
Matt,
watercolor?
I'm a big dumb idiot. I don't know anything.
I don't know. You really like this artist. So I thought maybe you had
I
shown me
do.
their studio.
Mm-hmm.
And
She does big paintings.
very, very big, which makes me think that they're probably oils. So I don't know if
Although
I've ever
I
seen
feel
anyone work
like
watercolors that big.
looking at the pencil markings, I mean, I guess they could have been like a big charcoal or something, but I feel like it makes me think this one was smaller. But also her signature is pretty tiny on the page, so maybe I'm stupid and don't know what I'm talking about here. You know what I
That makes
mean?
two of us. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So to answer the chat question, the paint that I'm using today is jelly gouache. I just kind of dug it out of the little jelly cups and I put it here on my mixing paper. Abby is using watercolor, which was very kindly gifted to her from the Chicory team over there at, is it Finji? Are they
I think
the
so. Don't
distributors?
quote me on that, but I think so. Finji, that sounds about right. It's also
Every
like
now
her
and then.
face proportions are not like she's like looking up, you know what I mean? Which is
Yes.
like a whole
The
other
hardest
thing.
one.
If you say so.
The one that artists dread the most.
Oh, not Donna.
Yeah, she'll go in wholeheartedly. Don't even give a care. All right, so before I go too in depth here, I'm going to block out the rest of the body. I love the big blocky form of the shirt. It helps the thing flow, especially since it's bright yellow, because you go from that bright white to the bright yellow block, and then in the background, you have the like sandy earth. It's really good direction. And then I'm not sure what's going on. Do you know what's going on at the bottom with the leg area?
Yeah, it's one is tucked under. She's wearing like chaps and like you see the knee is sort of forward and like it's kind of tucked under and then the other it's like tucked under her other thigh.
Oh, right. Yes, yes.
She's sort of sitting side saddle on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yes. Cowboy stuff. I forgot that like you have like the jeans and then the chaps you wear on the outside. Very
Gotta get into the cowboy
stuff.
game, Matt.
I'm trying for years. They keep rejecting my applications.
Okay, well, this is not. Oh wow! So I was going in like details of the face, but you're doing not that. I see.
Yeah, I'm trying to go for some of the bigger details just so I can
probably smarter.
make a whole bunch of mistakes and then go backwards.
I gotta put my music on. We're just totally silent over here.
Oh, we're jamming on this side. We got lo-fi beats for days.
Okay.
We're relaxing. We're studying. We're whatever the third thing they say on those channels is.
I wouldn't know. I might need to make her hat bigger. I think my proportions are already kind of funny.
Ha funny or?
If only.
Oh. So I feel like I don't really need to ask this question, but what attracted you to her work initially?
That's a fun question. I mean, I love cowboy art. I love Wild West art. There's another artist I really like who does more like kind of traditional style paintings. I think I've shown you because I ordered a big print from him that I showed you. His name is like Mark something. I'm gonna say Mark Cowboy Paintings. Yes, Mark Maggiori, Maggiori. This stuff is so good. It's beautiful. But it's very different. I like her stuff because it's very minimal. It's very graphic, which I think is more what I'm drawn to in like my personal style. You know?
Yeah, definitely. It's incredibly spacious, it feels like. Even though there's a lot of characters sort of cluttering the space. And by the way, I've totally messed up the proportions and I'm going off the rails here. So I'm kind of doing a zoom crop of this painting, which is fun.
I think I'm probably somewhat similar.
But even with that, there's so much negative space in the background. Like she paints the sky as just a flat block, which that minimalist thing you were talking about, but it's so striking. And it's especially prevalent, I feel like, in a lot of like sort of old Western classical paintings. It's just having that idea of like a huge sky.
Yeah.
Because it was such a striking, visage back then. A lot of these people were coming from the east, more crowded areas, more populated.
I don't know where Donna lives. Her studio, I bet she lives in like Arizona or something, or like Albuquerque, if I had to guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of the vibes I'm getting. Yeah, I think mine's kind of similar. I think we're both like face forward, then the rest coming in. Good news, Matt. Someone else in my chat says, I just realized the legs aren't a jumbled dog. So not everybody, you're not the only one confused by the whole.
Good. I was like, is it a baby calf? I was so sure it was a baby calf for a while, like resting in her lap.
So funny.
For her other leg. Not the case, however.
Fuck this up.
So we have the dark image of the crow down here.
Ooh, my proportions are way off, Matt. What do I do?
Yay! You just do more master studies after this until you get it better.
Okay.
It's generally it. No one ever gets anything right on the first time. Frustrating that, though it may be for a perfectionist.
Her jaw.
I'm not even like
on
attempting the face yet.
That's so probably smart. I goofed that one up pretty quick.
Scared of faces. I'm just not like a big figure drawing person. I love doing it. Like I love doing live figure drawing and stuff, but it's not my area of expertise. I've got tens of thousands of hours logged in painting landscapes and backgrounds and all nature of things like that. So in a heartbeat, I'll work on those. But when it comes to other stuff, it's always like, oh yeah, that'd be a fun way to loosen up, or like that would be, a really good thing to start focusing on. And then I just never dive in too hard, which I should. It's better to be well-rounded.
If you say so. I like being good at one thing and one thing only.
And that's why you're the #1 pachinko player in the world.
I love that game of chance. I'm so good at it.
I guess pachinko is mostly chance, isn't it? The best pachinko players know which ones are rigged.
Yeah, that's true. I think I have a feeling doing these hands is going to be a real ordeal for me.
The hands are wild. The hands are definitely
wild. The one
wild.
that's like pointing at the camera. Okay, come on.
Yeah, I'm making some blocks here just to sort of shape out the basic idea of those hands. It's also interesting because this is so stylized right from the jump. Like, it's not like we're looking at real people and doing figure studies off of that. Like, we're looking at someone's interpretation of a figure, which has an additional layer of abstraction.
Dang, I'm really proportions on this. All right, we get 0 dogs in my picture.
I really, really like, and I don't want to, everyone brings their own thing to when they're viewing art. But from my perspective, looking at the foreshortened hand, it's sketched super duper lightly. You can see how the lines are almost completely faint. And I'm like, I feel like she erased those lines a bunch of times because she didn't want to do it correct. She got frustrated on the hand and she was like, good enough.
It's a gesture.
But it kind of, it leans very heavily into one of the best pieces of advice I ever got for art, which was like, as soon as it looks like the thing you're trying to make, leave it alone and stop working on it.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And that's truly it. Like at a glance, you're like, yeah, the hands are perfect. Like,
yeah,
move on.
For sure.
Because the idea is the emotion of the painting, what it makes you feel. It's not a painting about a good hand that I drew once.
Well, says you.
Well,
I picked her because of the hands.
You're a big hand freak.
I forgot
about that.
Hand pervert.
Yeah. It's one of your many perversions. You shouldn't nail yourself down to just one.
No, like I said. Well, except for pachinko, my perversions are many.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, crow, and then leggy. I love how she did the crow's legs. That weird little curve on the back of it. These tiny, delicate little talon lines.
Okay, let's get the crow in here. All right, we're just gonna have like a little, just gonna get the head of the crow probably. Something like
Give
that.
room for a crow head there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got the back in here, and okay, there's a crow. I feel like I'm making sort of a chonky crow, but that's okay. It's well fed.
Yeah. It's all crows should be.
Yeah.
And are in my neighborhood.
Good for them.
Yeah, they're thriving. It's been a hard year. I respect the hustle. Okay,
Probably a good year for trash, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love Andrew Wyeth. He's peeping my chest. I went Andrew Wyeth. I love Andrew Wyeth. I saw an Andrew Wyeth picture. I think it was at the Whitney of like a crow. It's like a famous painting of his like crow, the crow in winter. It's all dead. It's so good. Big Andrew Wyeth fan. Didn't he have? I think he had like a big affair. Anyway, continue on.
Oh my! Not after that bombshell.
What were you saying?
I was just saying, I think both of us are gonna kind of miss the boat on the dogs in this one.
Oh yeah, there's maybe we'll get like a little snout in here.
Yeah.
But that's not the priority anymore.
No, this is.
But you know what? I feel like from what I have, it's not terrible. As someone who doesn't really draw ever, you know?
It would have been, I'm going to say terrifying if you had just done like a perfect recreation of this masterwork.
Would it be a thing that like on the stream you'd be like, cool, great job, Abby, and then like you would have gone home and be like, what the fuck?
What happened?
What? Yeah.
I went for my job.
Questioning everything.
Yeah, I would have done that probably.
Look, we all been there.
I'm just about ready
What?
to paint.
You're not gonna draw in the details? You're gonna paint first and then get the little deets going?
I mean, for something like this, the details are less important, I think, than the big color blocks, because that seems to mostly be what she's focusing on in the painting. A lot of the lines are very, very delicate.
That's true.
And a lot of them are also on top of the paint, which makes me think that it was like a sort of a thin sketch underneath and then paint and then like a charcoal on top.
You know, I'll take your word on that one, because I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I have no idea what tools she used to make this thing. Look, we could have prepared more, but we didn't, and that's fine.
This time.
I'm going to take some paper towel, and I'm going to dust lightly, just so I don't get too much smudging from the graphite. The pencil I used is the Blackwing, and it has a lot of dust.
I love those.
Well, you might be.
Maybe one day I'll have a box. Yay! No pressure. That being said, if I don't, I'll cry.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I really love on Real People too, and in the drawing. You know that bone, kind of like at your wrist. Can't really show it off on camera like I want to. This bone here.
The wrist bone.
Yeah, kind of like right above where your tattoo is, like this bad boy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like that bone. Big fan.
It's a good bone.
Good bone.
Beautiful bone.
Beautiful bone.
The beautiful bone.
Whoa.
The lovely bone. That's what that movie was about.
Oh, I read that book and hated it.
Oh no.
This was a long time ago, but remember not being a huge fan. Don't think I saw the movie because I'm not a fan of the book.
All right, time to mix some colors. So do you feel like you've absorbed any of the artist's intention while crafting this?
Definitely fucked up some hands. Does that count?
Yes, I feel like she probably felt the same thing. Truly.
Not as much as I just did.
I
Somebody
follow a
says
lot
it's
of-
oil on canvas. They've looked
Okay.
into it.
That tracks. I follow a lot of professional painters on Instagram, and thankfully some of them post their mistakes. It's a very rare thing on Instagram, but there's one artist I follow in particular who just draws the most beautiful, like, charcoal impressions of faces and things like
Mhm.
that. And he had a big run on paintings where he was just like, I can't get the face right. It's wrong over and over and over again.
Oh, wow.
And he would always post about it, not in like a self-deprecating way, but just in like, hey, listen, man, this happens so
Yeah.
often. No one ever talks about it. The studies, the sketches, everything that leads up to a painting, but also the painting itself. And luckily with oils, you know, you can rework oils quite a bit.
Oh,
Which
you're
is
telling
very-
me. Don't I know it? Very familiar with that.
Yeah, oil by numbers over here. I know it. How is that going, by the way? I know that you're doing that paint by numbers.
Good. I've been trying to go to bed at like a human hour, so I haven't been able to look at it as much as I would like to. It's also a little tricky because, like, that's a thing I want to put on while I watch television. And I was doing pretty good at, like, practicing my French. And it's a little tough to, like, practice my French with the TV when I can't read the subtitles for it, like in French, I mean.
yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the routine is all wibbledy-wobbledy.
Right.
But that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it doesn't go anywhere. It'll always be there for you.
Well, says
All
you.
right. Time to paint a picture. Presumably.
Okay, these proportions are fucked.
So
She's really
again,
like leaning one arm in on mine. I don't know if you can see that.
She's like, whoa, man.
She's dancing. That
she's
shoulder's
definitely-
maybe a little dislocated.
She's got a sway on for sure, yeah.
But I'm okay.
Um,
But you know, the gesture's there.
Gesture's there, and that's what's most important. You can see,
Yeah.
if anyone's looking at mine, you can see how up here the crow that I put in is in the wrong place because I was accidentally looking at this triangle and not the adjusted triangle that I made later. So the crow is like way the heck up there, which is very funny to me.
For a second, I knew you wouldn't, but I thought it would be very fun if you're like, and if you guys come over and look at mine, it's perfect.
You can look at mine, actually. I'm incredible and a beloved angel. So just check it out real quick. Okay, I'm going to paint this sky in. I'm trying not to paint too much over these pencil lines because I still worry about smudging. I've had really bad smudging with the Blackwing pencils.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm using a
Because they're-
Crayola pencil, so
Because the Blackwings, they're not made for painting over. They're made for like sketching and cartooning and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to fix a lot of my value mistakes in the painting stage. I mean, gouache is a very thick medium, unlike watercolor. Sorry, Abby. I can actually paint over some spots like you would with an acrylic or an oil. So that'll help me fix some of these structural mistakes, of which there are many. But that's all part of the fun.
getting as much of this dog in here as I can.
It's brave of you. I gave up entirely on the poor dog. I feel bad, but he's dead now. I miss him. And these hands. Oh, these hands.
Sounds like Donna Howell Sickles is talking right now.
Never paint a hand again.
Hands are for squares.
Yes. I've been saying for years as I refuse to paint hands. I'm trying to get a somewhat even coating.
You know, this dog's, it's okay. Could be worse.
Could be worse.
Could be worse. Someone also said, I think, that this is like a 58 by 48 painting or something. I'm
Or-
remembering. It's like it was some larger size than we are definitely doing. So.
And you know the magic of working big? I tell you the biggest secret in publishing, especially when it comes to illustration. Work incredibly big and all your mistakes disappear when you shrink it down.
Oh, that makes sense. What about when you work small?
Goo. You have to blow it up even bigger and all your mistakes get incredibly huge. I remember learning that when I was learning about how comics were made.
Oh, that's fascinating.
All the pages that they worked on were so big and then they would shrink them in production. Not always, but most of the time.
That's cool.
I remember the first time that I had a manga, I ordered it from Japan, and it was one of the pocketbook sized ones back in the mid 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking how do they draw so small?
Oh,
this is
that's
incredible.
So funny.
The lines are so delicate and small and perfectly smooth. And then later on, I read those same editions in their full size, and the lines are totally wobbly and all over the place. And it's oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
You usually paint pretty small, though.
Yes, unless I'm working digitally, and then I work really, really big.
Oh, yeah, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, then I have the free real estate because it's it's tough. It's very expensive to work big.
Yeah, that makes sense. Donna Howell Sickles is rich as fuck. I actually don't know.
Triforce in the chat said, my graphics design teacher said you can make it good or make it big. Yeah,
that's
tracks.
So funny. So I'm doing some of my shadowy details before I paint. I don't know if that's smart or not, but it's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I definitely added in some of those sketchy hash lines and stuff.
Yeah.
She had in there. And we'll see if that works out. I hope so. I don't know how I'm going to do this skin tone. I think that would be yellow and a bit of red. All of my color theory goes crashing to the ground. It's tough because I'm trying to use the same colors as you, and those colors...
They're quite different than the ones she's using. These are not very earthy, and her stuff's quite earthy.
Yeah, and these also lend themselves... They lend themselves to doing some pretty incredible things. If you take your red and your magenta, or your red and your green, they'll gray out and make a really nice dark color, which you can use for those crows.
Whoa.
But
I also have a bunch of Crayola markers that I'm ready to use whenever.
Yeah, which you might need to do because you don't have white paint. And I'm mixing in the white paint in order to mix up to a skin tone here. And you don't have that option. But you do have the option with watercolor, and this is how you get really light colors with watercolors. You just thin it out with water and then put a very thin application on. Because it's the white of the paper that creates the light.
Oh, interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah. Let's switch brushes now to this little guy.
Hmm.
And I'm completely going to paint over the face details in the hopes that they will disappear and I won't have to confront them again.
No, you gotta get the face. I'm trying to get the face. I'm fixing it. I need to get this jawline. I keep giving her jowls, and that's not right,
It's tough. The jaw does dip down in this perspective. So if you end up drawing the face pointing forward and the jaw pointing up, it'll look like jowls. So you got to kind of move all the elements on the face upwards in a very specific way. It's the reason a lot of artists fear this particular angle on the face because it's so notoriously difficult to draw.
Well, Donna's a freaking master of it.
Yeah. It's expressive. It's it says a lot about the figure. It shows hope and optimism, joyful spirit,
A love of the sun.
love of the sun, love of the crows, love of the game. I use a paler blue and repaint that sky.
Matt, do you think I'll ever get to the painting aspect of this?
Maybe. I believe in you, Abby.
I think I'll probably bail on that other crow for now, just because I'd rather do some painting first,
Yeah, absolutely. Do whatever you feel like doing. That's what it's all about.
You know, I feel like I had a mouth that wasn't terrible, and then I erased it, and everything else I'm drawing is just absolute garbage.
Can't be true. Wait,
Can it, though? Okay, here we go.
My howdy. The sky that she painted is so light. I'm trying to go back and repaint a lighter sky. The contrasts are very bold. There's also a bit of red in the sky as well.
You say so.
Which is intense. It's got a kind of purple tinge. Which makes sense for Western painting.
Face is fogged. But you know what? That's okay. The problem is I think that features are all too big. I need to just blow it up like she did. Paint on a 58 by 48, you know?
On a friggin' wall, yeah. The true secret.
Ooh, I'm gonna give her some luscious lips, apparently.
Nice.
I need to just make them more narrow. Okay, gave her a mustache.
Mustache.
Oh, fuck. Why is the mouth so freaking hard?
Mixing down to this brown color is going to be tough. I like the painting color challenge of using a limited palette, but it can be very frustrating if it's impossible.
Well, I'm
when
not
that
gonna
happens,
try to match the colors personally. I am just gonna try to get the sort of the tone of it. You know what I mean?
absolutely. When that does happen, you can kind of just work within the gamut, which is something I'm trying to do. Because even if you can't get access to all the colors, if you just change the gamut, then it changes what the colors needed will be. That makes sense. It's like shifting. It's like
I don't know
sepia
what
tone
gamut
photograph.
means. Yeah, that's
A
exactly what I meant when I said like I'm just getting the tone. Where I'm just gonna like go for like where I have reds, I might have pinks. Where I have blues, I might have teals. You know?
Yeah, but as long as the values match up, it doesn't matter. It's how people create those really beautiful atmospheric paintings where, like, you know, it's a sunset and all the shadows are bright neon blue. Like, that's not how it really looks, but it's how it feels like it looks. It's the palette of your memory.
Okay, I gave her a closed mouth, but it's the best we got, so we're sticking with it.
Hey, I've got the weird pants bundle. And there's no real shading. Like, it's so graphical. I'm not used to that. Like, a lot of the shading in this picture is just pencils or graphite or whatever, which is so fascinating to me. But I do need to use this brown color that I have for the crow. The light area in the crow is brown. And thankfully, you do have all the colors you need to mix to a brown, because it's kind of just an amalgamation of the bunch of them.
Or I could just not have brown. You ever think about that, Matt?
But brown's the one that's easiest for you, Abby.
Well,
Now
the
you're
one that's
making it-
easiest
now
is
you're
the
making
one
it
with no
harder for
mixes.
Curious.
Okay, so my dog, honestly, I gotta say I fucking nailed the dog. The dog, I think, is almost perfect. Okay. Look, this is what we got working so far, everybody. I'm gonna also, it's also at an angle, so, but I feel like, as a big dumb idiot who's not an artist, not terrible. You know, not terrible. I'm gonna start painting, for better and for worse.
You know, or for worse.
Yeah, whatever. It's all gonna mean the same thing, you know.
No, Abby, no. That's the classic artist's despair.
Oh,
I
yeah.
need to draw the blanket. I love the fold.
Yeah, me too. I got the fold in. That was Not so bad. Okay. Oh, we got a raid! Hungry Peach Boy, thank you so much. I am painting watercolors. This is Adana Howell Sickles. I'm not an artist. Matt is. We got a squad stream going. Anyway,
Hello,
thank you for
everybody.
being here. Hello, I'm Matt, Abby, and this is Matt. I almost said I'm Matt.
I noticed. You wish, pal. Okay, now I'm gonna put these stripes on the blanket.
Been wishing for years.
Which is wild because we've only known each other about a year.
Well, we followed each other for a long time. This is all orchestrated.
Oh my god. It's a lot to process.
Okay.
All right.
I also think part of why I like her stuff so much is like, this is like a weird one, you know? It's like a, you know, cowgirl, it's joyous, but also there are like crows everywhere, just sort of like unnaturally, you know, in a way that I really like. It just feels kind of abstract and funny.
Yeah, it's like a playful ominousness. Like there is it's hard to tell whether the figure is shooing the crow away or if she's putting her arm out to accept it. One dog is looking away while the other looks at her. Like the whole composition feels open in a claustrophobic way. I mean, even blocking in the top with that like red triangle, very intentional when you're blocked in on every other side, the crow and the two dogs with those dark red figures. It's a very, very interesting composition.
I'm gonna do what Matt's doing.
Which is?
Just hold my fingers up like brackets next to it.
Yeah, I'm a very pretentious artist. To do stuff like that.
Okay, kind of made this dude's butt too big. Here, maybe if I do.
Can make the crow's butt bigger.
Give this crow a big old dumper.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. All right. Proportions are whack, but you know what? I kind of feel like it's not that bad, all things considered.
Sound like me looking in the mirror.
Look, it's unnatural and unholy, but hey, I'd do it. That's me talking as when I look in the mirror. Okay, moving on to paint, Matt. I don't know what I'm doing with paint, so I am open and happy for any and all watercolor advice.
All right, so you're gonna want to put paint on the brush.
Slow down.
Okay. First, you're gonna want to put water on the brush.
Here's my water.
The water allows you to pick up the paint.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the fun and the frustration of watercolor comes from learning how much water to actually use.
Here are my
on the
paints,
brush.
everybody. I might just do a little testy test. Well, I guess I can do a testy test on this, what's it called? Ooh, this brush is stiff. I gotta break it up. I don't know if that's, like, bad, but that's what I'm doing. Brush too stiff.
Brush too stiff.
Is this supposed to be like this?
Can I see your brush?
Can you?
Have you ever used it before?
No.
Oh, so it might still have the protective. There's like sort of a protective coating on all new brushes.
Yeah.
In the water and swirl it around for a little while, just a few seconds.
I did.
And lightly crush it against the bottom of the jar until all the bristles come apart. And you can kind of don't tug on it or try to rip any bristles out, but just sort of roll it in your fingers.
Okay.
To try and separate the bristles a little bit.
You want the #1 watercolor tip, don't touch an area after a minute or so unless you want that blooming effect called background. Matt, do you agree?
Yes, although you can use that to affect from time to time. It depends on the sort of thing you're going for. Definitely in this picture, it seems like we just want a lot of flat color.
Mm-hmm.
So try not to use too much water. Although I will say, if you wet the surface beforehand,
Oh, should I?
if you do, you can get like a smoother effect. You can get a
I
nice,
want like
smooth
flat
finish.
colors, you know,
Yeah.
like, so should I wet?
Yeah, go for it. Just give it a
Oh,
give it a
it's
wet there.
scary. Well, I also have a small brush for this, but
So wet the area that you want to paint.
so the whole thing.
Well, I mean, you don't want to paint the whole thing at once, right? If you're putting down a singular color.
Okay.
So if you're doing the sky, just like the little block that is the sky, basically.
How wet does it have to be? Because
Not completely soaked, because then the paint's just going to fly all over the place.
wow, this
My
is
chat
fun
was
because
yelling
it's
at me because I
painting.
said I
but
wasn't handsome. Did I say I wasn't handsome? I don't remember that. Probably. Listen, chat.
my chat's yelling at me because I talk too much about how I'm handsome. They're like, no! Have you seen yourself?
Bring her back to Earth. Look, there's a reason I'm never on camera, and it's because I'm too beautiful, okay? So now you know the truth.
And I'm on camera because I love people telling me I look like Howard Stern, which happened earlier today.
What?
Multiple times.
Gross.
Mm-hmm. And then when I was like, hey, don't do that, people double down.
That is repulsive.
It's fine. Okay, here we go. Getting in there with the blue. Time to be scary. Oh, God. Oh, boy. It's scary.
You can do this.
Let's not stick it. Okay.
Okay. So now I'm going to do the background sand. Mostly yellow and a little bit of red.
I don't know if I'm making this brush wet enough. I say don't go too wet, but am I going too dry? Hard to say.
There definitely is a too dry. It's tough. It's one of the most difficult things to learn in watercolor, but it's also one of those things you can only learn from doing. Like, you can't be taught how much water to put on a brush because it changes all the time during a painting.
Dang, I feel like I'm goofing this up.
You're learning.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so I did one dry brush, and it's quite dark compared to the rest of this. Okay, I'm kind of painting over it with a wet brush, and it's sort of fixing a little bit.
Yeah, watercolor, for the most part, will reactivate. If you put a really thin layer on, it'll just stain the paper, which is sometimes desired. But if you have a really thick glob of paint, you can reactivate it on the page with water and spread it out.
Feels like that's what I've done.
Now, one thing I did forget to do was set my stretch timer for this. So I have not been stretching, but I'm going to set one now. And I'm going to stand up and take a stretch, because it's not good to sit for this long.
I'll do that after I do my blue.
Oh, I'm so excited for my Stream Deck to get here. It's going to be here in a couple of days.
Ooh, yeah, it's a real game changer, I'm telling you.
One of the things I'm really looking forward to is just pressing a button to have my little stretch guy appear on the screen instead of constantly forgetting.
Yeah, it's great. Highly recommend. I love it. Yeah, it's like one of my, I think, best stream accessories.
I've been watching a lot of fun tutorials to prepare for it. And one of the neatest features that I had seen, because, you know, I knew about some of the obvious ones, setting up, switching between scenes and stuff, but there was one that you just press a button and it automatically arranges all the windows on your screen to exactly where they need to be.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
Yeah, so it like puts your Discord and your Spotify and your stream things, and it organizes them automatically and resizes them, and that's so cool.
Damn. Show me this tutorial.
Yeah, I'll send you the vid. Okay. Stretch over. See you in 25 minutes. So I think to really make this one my own, when I do the final lines, I'm not going to use pencil, and instead I'm going to do some dip pen lines, because I love working in the dip pen.
I think to make this one my own, I'm going to make it look weird and bad.
Abby, I will only take so much of that from you.
It's just, you set me up for it so easy.
I know. Damn it. Alright, so finish putting the dog color here. Now.
Okay. I like that I can add more water to this and fix the blotchiness of this. That's pretty nice. It's still pretty blotchy, but slightly better.
So usually when you're painting with a non-water-based medium, you're using another medium. So for oil, there's like, what do they call it? Like liquid that you can get, like Winsor Newton liquid.
What?
And it's basically a thing that it enables the paint to flow better.
Oh.
Because you can't use water with oil.
Of course. What fool would think that?
Well, oil, even if you don't paint, oil and water don't mix. It's very...
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, dearie me. We got to do a physics stream next. That'll be our next thing.
I know oil and water don't mix. No fool.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, so, but with watercolor, you can always go back in with a little bit of water, and that's the medium through which the pigment flies across the surface of the paper. So you can make all sorts of really cool effects happen. So for example, if you're working really wet on a dry piece of paper from the top down, and you like put some paint down and then tilt the page slightly, it'll run into a little bead at the bottom because gravity's pulling it downward.
Oh.
And then you can grab a different color and then go paint right beside that bead, and then the color from on top will just move down into it, and you can make this gradient, this sort of ombre effect, and it looks really beautiful and really smooth. Cool. And it's because the physics of the water is doing all the heavy lifting, and it's sort of pulling all those little particles of pigment along with them.
Neat.
Which I think is neat.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Okay, so I got a blotchy background, but it's there. Oh, fuck. I forgot that this line goes all the way across. Oh, well. Wow, thank you. Triforce figure really enjoys my interpretations. I'll take it. Well, do you like this interpretation of we got this nice horizon and then it's gone? I forgot about the horizon line. Whoa, Geesepeep says they like using salt on watercolors to make stars.
Yes. Yeah, because salt repels water.
I'm gonna do my stretch now. But
it makes all these like tiny little dots all over the place. It's a classic. I remember learning that in like kindergarten and being like, I will never use this. I don't need this. And then years and years later, when I started learning how to paint, it was all of a sudden, oh yeah, these are actually really good techniques that like professionals use today.
Yeah. That's cool.
Which is fun. Yeah. Did you just take your stretch?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Gotta have a stretch, and then I think I gotta take a little sippy of my sody pop.
It's important. I've got some ice water here that I'm chugging on. Trying to lay off the soda lately, and it sucks. So.
Well, don't look at my stream then. Yeah.
It's tough, man. I was the soda king. I loved those Coca-Cola Zero classics, but they were starting to hurt my bones.
Oh, that's no good. My thing is like, I can't go cold turkey on anything. I can't cut anything out. But I have gotten really good at replacing things. So yes. I find that like, if I'm like, okay, I want to drink less soda, I will enjoy the soda when I want to, but also be like, I'm also going to have a seltzer. And like, eventually I just get used to drinking seltzer during it, and then I slowly replace it with the seltzer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very much the same way. I have terrible willpower for a great many things. And so if I can find replacements, that is key. A lot of, I ate way too much meat and still do, honestly. But when Beyond came out with Beyond sausages, and I was able to make the switch there, the calorie count didn't get better because they're still very high calorie, but they're not meat. So you get a lot more like plant-based benefits from those. And that's the only way I was able to like cut out other meats out of my diet, was replacing them with a thing that basically was meat again.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's really hard. All right, so now I've got the shirt blocked in, and it's time to confront my fears, which I hate doing.
Yeah.
Let me get some magenta and blue and green and paint the hair. Oh, hey, Kate.
Hello,
Kate. In the
Kate.
chat, who said, I like Beyond Sausages because it sounds like a cool sci-fi book title. Totally agree. It's one of those books or movies where you really hope someone name checks like the title in the course
Like right
of the
before
story.
a kiss, they're like, I love you, Beyond Sausage.
This kiss has taken me beyond sausage. Way.
Matt.
Yes, Abby.
With the colors I have, I'll remind you, how do I make her skin tone look not like demonic?
It's hard. It's incredibly hard.
It's gonna go
specifically
pink.
With those. So if you grab some pink and just an absolute tap of the yellow.
Okay. So wait, can I do watercolor mixing on the thingy? How do you do that?
On the thingy?
Like on my paper plate?
Yeah, I would mix on a palette surface if you can. So on your paper plate there, just take a little tap of both on your brush and then smush them around. Give them a swoosh.
At the same time. Oh,
Well, grab a bit
yellow.
of one. Grab a bit of one and put it down, and then grab a bit of the other after cleaning your brush.
Oh, that ship sailed.
All right.
It's okay. I just contaminated my yellow a little bit, but I can work around it.
There exists a planet beyond sausages.
Okay, I think have a skin tone here. Okay. Here we go, everybody. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Wow, honestly, I fucking nailed it.
That's the Abby Russell overconfidence I love.
Damn, you got me.
Usually because it comes right before a giant downfall.
Okay, giant.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm correct in my confidence.
It's usually just being bitten by an animal.
Well, yeah.
That looks really good. You nailed that skin tone.
Thank you.
You've got, honestly, a huge sort of disadvantage over what I'm currently working with because I have the white paint that I'm using to tint it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on a bit more of an easy mode. So it's killer that you mixed to that skin tone.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without your excellent guidance, Matt.
Agreed. I shouldn't have said that so fast.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna...
Man, how do you get such flat colors? Guess different kind of paint.
Yes, primarily oil is very easy to do that with if you're working carefully. I wonder...
Alright.
I'm so curious to see her approach. I wonder if there's videos on YouTube of her working.
I don't know. If you
Some
find them,
artists,
let me
you know,
know.
Some they use a real big brush and a real thin application with that medium,
Mhm.
and then they work in layers. The other thing about using the medium with oil paints is it usually has a drier agent, because oil, notoriously, if anyone here has worked with oil paints, you know, they can take months to dry.
What?
I once did a painting at my friend's house. I painted a big oil painting, and when we were done painting for the day, I was like, "You can keep this," and he was like, "Hell yeah, I'll hang it in the hallway to dry." And I remember going there months later, and on my way to the bathroom in the hallway, I like nudged it with my shoulder, and my whole shoulder got smeared with paint from it because it was still drying after months and months and months. But because we weren't using medium to make it flow, we were using turpentine because we didn't understand. Because turpentine is what you use to clean oil from other things, or mineral spirits if you're not idiot kids. So yeah, it's a long process, but if you use like that liquid medium, it makes them dry like within hours, like normal like acrylic painting time or watercolor. Apparently there's a TikTok artist who does massive globs of oil paint, and they're like, oh yeah, it takes years to dry, which is so stressful. That sounds super stressful. I'd be so scared to hang them anywhere.
Yeah, you can't.
I think that's why when you see pictures of big, not galleries, but like studios, I think I'd know that word by now. They usually just have all their paintings on like easels far apart from each other around a very large space. It's because they're
so
like, please
weird.
don't go there.
You just like put a fan in front of it, and then it's like it'll dry. You know?
I wonder. I truly don't think there's any way, because it's so chemically, right? It's the oils, they just don't want to dry unless you have a hardening agent inside. Which is so fascinating. I also find it really fascinating with the medium specifically for oils, because it facilitates flow. So it makes it run real smooth. But it also dries faster. Like whoever came up with that product must be a billionaire, because that's such a genius thing.
Or it's like some kind of ancient trick that's just been around forever.
Yeah, an ancient secret.
Yeah.
Founded in a temple.
Oh, we got another raid. Dr. Debitage, thank you so much. We are painting from reference, a master's study, so to speak. I'm not an artist, but I think I'm doing okay. I also only have 4 colors because they were sent to me for free. But I think it's turning out okay. You know, she's got kind of a big shoulder drop, but that's okay.
Yeah, don't we all? You know?
Oh, yeah. Look, nobody's perfect.
Staying silent because, you know...
You're also not perfect?
That's not what I was going for. I was kind of thinking not perfect.
Whoa, high pitch.
Okay, so I'm going to get some blue, and I'm going to blue up those jeans, and then I think I'm ready to go in with some ink and make a real mess.
I have a tricky thing where I mixed some paints, painted one side of the, what's it called? Chaps. And now I run out, so I have to mix for the other side, and I'd say there's absolutely no way it'll match.
One of the absolute hardest things to learn in painting. I still am very bad at it. There's a YouTube channel I really like watching called Baumgartner Restoration.
I think I maybe follow them. Yes, his shit's so good.
Yeah, he's a restorer out of Chicago, Illinois, and he is one of the most talented color reproducers I've ever seen. When he does the touch-ups on the paintings, he knows like just immediately not only how to mix to a color, but what the color will look like when it is dry and how it will look when it's varnished, which are two wildly different things. Because when a paint dries, it will dry to a certain tone. If you're working with gouache, dark colors dry lighter and light colors dry darker because it dries to a smooth matte finish. It's different with oils and all those kind of things, but generally when a paint dries, it will color shift. But then when you varnish something, it also looks completely different. And I remember watching one of his videos, I was astounded to see it, where the color didn't look anything like what was on the original painting. It looked so bad and so ugly. And he's like, no, trust me. I'm a professional.
Wow.
And then he applied the varnish, and invisible. You couldn't tell.
That's
it looked like the original. It was the coolest thing I had ever seen, which tells you how cool I am.
Okay, so one side of the chap's a little pinker than the other, but I did my best.
And that's all we can really do at the end of the day.
Okay.
All right, I got the jeans painted in.
Thank you. People are saying very good work, which I appreciated. I'm trying. You know, the proportions ain't right. Her face is a little funny. I'm not as good as Donna. Very few of us are.
Yeah.
Matt, with the colors I have, I'm going to show them on screen again. How do you think I could get her lips done? Do you think I could get a red going? Maybe the pink and blue?
I would probably just use the pink straight up for those lips, honestly. Which I think is what I'm going to do as well. I'm just going to go right into my magenta.
I might just not do the lips. They're so thin. I'm going to fuck it up. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
Well, I guess, yeah, you don't have tiny brushes, do you? You got the big honkin'. Yeah, that's going to be tough. I'm going to use my rigging brush, which is a really, really tiny, thin little baby brush. originally designed to paint the rigging on sailing ships when you're doing an old painting of a sailing ship.
Do people do a lot of those?
They used to, certainly.
Wow.
One of the classics. People are talking about what if watercolor but milk. Casein paint is milk based. It's
Ew.
one of the oldest. It's one of the oldest forms of paint on Earth.
What freak made paint out of milk?
It was used in ancient I'm just gonna ignore you. It was used in ancient civilizations, and it's still used today. It's really, really amazing. It's water fast, so it won't reactivate, which makes it a great underpainting material for watercolor.
Someone in my chat said stinky paintings, and I agree with them.
Yeah, it all smells like farts also permanently.
Does it really?
No, it's fine. They wouldn't sell it if it smelled like farts.
I'm making fun of the milk painting.
Look, I just know that no one's going to defend the honor of casein, so I got to step in here and tell you that it's amazing. Any more questions, Abby?
No.
Okay.
If you sell someone a milk painting, can they not be lactose intolerant? But boo-boo, yeah.
What happened?
I made a good joke.
Okay.
So, just missed one of my great ones. Real singer.
You're listening to Abby Russell's Great Ones.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch.tv. Okay. Where is my inking pen? Today I'm going to use Deleter Black number 4, which has a very cute little kitty cat on the package, which is how you know it's good.
Deleter Black?
Deleter. I think originally Deleter just made whiteout, which is why they're called Deleter.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. they make really good inks.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to this dog now.
Do I have any experience in oils? Not much. I have painted in oils a couple of times, and I've enjoyed it, but I've never painted in oils at home because it's, despite what some people would say about casein, it is the stinkiest.
Casing the milk art?
Yeah. So oils are very stinky to paint with. And I don't like stinky paint.
I was sure to really fart it up before we got started here so we can have the stink going. I only paint when it stinks.
I know. Trying to match some of these lines. Got like variable line widths on a lot of these marks. Got a deft hand.
I feel like things aren't as vibrant for me as they are for her.
I mean, as you said, she had a lot more color options when she was picking hers, because there's color harmony, which is definitely a big thing. And she also works very pale.
Mm-hmm.
Which helps a lot of those dark lines really shine. Absolutely gonna mess the mouth up. Boo.
Yeah, so I'm not really even gonna fuck with the coloring of her lips. She's got a mouth, and that's the best we can do.
As any proud parent would say. inking on top of a finished painted surface is very hard, it turns out. I've made a fool's mistake.
Trying to smooth out some of my like blue colors here. I don't think it's working. I think I'm just making it wet.
What?
Yep.
Oh, you're going back over the sky with water?
Yeah, just get with a wet brush. I was hoping to like smooth out some of the sort of darker bits, but
the brush strokes.
Be Glad says, I've destroyed my algorithms forever, but I can report that yes, people do paintings with breast milk.
Oh boy.
Good to know. Those people not freaks. Cow's milk, just wackos. Matt?
Yes, hello.
Just making sure you're still there.
I'm still here. Boy, howdy. And don't forget, everybody, Twitch Terms of Service does say that if you follow me, you got to follow Abby and vice versa. Mm-hmm. This also applies to subscriptions and raids somehow.
It's just, those are the rules.
Impossible. Listen, we didn't make them up.
It's talk to Jason TV.
Yeah. Jason.
Is that not his name?
Justin?
Damn.
I mean, I'm not going to act like I was around when it was Justin TV.
Alice Forever Cemetery, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. I also don't know if my alert stuff's on. I feel like I didn't get it. So if I missed any other subscriptions, I'm so sorry, but thank you. Okay. Alert didn't work. Well, that's okay. I'm using like kind of a weird scene for this. That's what you call the little picture-in-picture things in OBS. And this is not one I use often, so I wouldn't be surprised if everything's just a little funny.
Okay, it's time to draw the hand. I messed up on the first line. That's got to be a record.
I'm mixing colors right now. I'm sorry, it's happening off screen. I don't have the fancy setup Matt has to really show it off, but know that it's going to become a beautiful color at the end. Just like a little butterfly.
Ooh.
It's going to be kind of green pants, but I just want it to look different than the sky and still be nice and saturated.
I am going to initiate another stretch break.
Oh, smart. After the pants, I will join you. I have to say, this song feels perfect for what we're painting. I have a nice kind of slow cowpokey song playing right now.
Oh, nice. I've got Kid Rock's Ba With Da Ba playing
what?
currently. No.
How are you not going to get... yeah.
Still chill out.
Wow, that's so wild. My sound alert is like super delayed. Anyway, came eventually.
Okay.
All right.
In my stream setup, I've got your stream right next to the reference that I'm looking at, and I keep almost referencing your drawing.
You should.
This one goes here.
Okay. I'm gonna do the stripies on the thing now. Ooh, that's a nice rich color. I like that.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Do I have things that I hate drawing, like hands, noses, circles? Hate is a very strong word. I would say there's a lot of things that I'm not good at drawing, certainly. A lot of things I need more practice. Figures.
I feel like I could, I think I know something you would hate to draw. Because I may or may not have tried to pimp you into drawing it a number of times. It's nothing perverted, everyone. Don't worry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the cowboy on a horse shooting a gun, holding an umbrella.
The camera. Yeah. Yeah, that's a tall ask.
All right. Okay, we're gonna do a big mix all the colors for these crows here. If you say it'll work, I'm gonna take your word.
I really hope that it works now, or else I'm gonna look like a fool.
I mean, if I mix them and it looks like shit, I just want to use it, you know?
Well, it should look a little bit like that because we're looking for a brown.
But I want a black. No? Or like a gray?
Yeah. I mean, so you see where I'm talking about like the light color on the crow? Like the crow at the bottom, how it's not fully black.
That looks, I feel like I see gray in that more than I see brown, but maybe that's just me.
It's like a neutral, like a warm neutral.
Okay.
Which is where brown lives.
JV645 in my chat says, I'm pretty high and this music is phenomenal. Good job on music. Thank you. It's all the old YouTube sound library. Nice and free. Also, I wonder if being high and me calling you out by name is upsetting. It's a thing that I feel like if I were stoned watching a stream and they were like, Abby, what's up? I'd be like, oh my God.
I'm falling into the TV.
Sorry, I just tore a, what's it called? Paper towel.
Love them. Can't get enough of this stuff.
Kind of, well, I feel like maybe I finally got a mix together. It's more of like a blue-gray. Guess I could probably add a bit more yellow. I'm hesitant to add anything else, though, because I feel like I keep adding and then have to add more and more and more. You know?
Yeah. And where does it end, you know?
Asked myself that for years. I'm not judging how high you are. I'm supporting it. Just don't drive, have fun, be safe, live within your means. All right.
Okay, it's time to draw the dreaded chaps that are impossible to understand.
Another problem when I mix is it makes the color so light. Whereas if I just use the color straight, it's like nice and saturated, which I like, but I think maybe I just don't want to work with watercolor, I think is what I'm learning. Because I want my colors to be like rich and flat.
I mean, it's kind of funny that you say that because for most watercolorists, that is the effect that they get. I should send
Well,
you some videos of
guess
my
I'm
favorite
bad.
watercolorists and the things that they can do. It's all very bonkers stuff. So
Please do.
beautiful.
I have a friend who's good at watercolor, but I feel like hers isn't that. It's got that like classic watercolor look, the bloom or whatever people were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
The textures, yeah. It's a pretty wide gamut. There's a watercolorist that I watch on YouTube who her stuff is so like storybook. It looks like oils. Like
Wow.
the rendering and stuff, very detailed, three-dimensional looking rendering. Made up of layers and layers and layers of watercolor. It's very beautiful.
That's cool. Yeah, send it to me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to say for my one stoned audience member, this is the kind of shit, like, if I get stoned, yeah, put me in front of a painting thing, put me in front of something really relaxing, just somebody making something, you know what I mean?
How it gets made is my favorite.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, I feel like I was supposed to stretch a while ago, and I just simply did not.
You ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how your bones turn into, I don't know.
Strong
needles.
bones?
Yeah, strong bones.
Oh, my crow is so light. I'm gonna have to get the old Crayola out. I'm sad I didn't have enough room for those dog paws, because I really love how she drew them.
Sad too.
Do. Alright, well, I might just start doing my pencil over.
Do it. I find I'm getting a lot of good definition just inking over these spots.
I believe it.
It's working in such a limited palette. It's very difficult to fully express all the same ideas.
What I do like about this scene study especially is like her lines are so like squiggly wiggly that I feel like when I make a misdraw, it's fine. It like adds to it, you know?
Yeah. Even though a lot of her swiggly wigglies have this sort of common tension to them.
Sure, like she's good at it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I understand. Things that seem the easiest in painting are generally speaking very difficult to like master and do on command.
You mean like some simplistic stuff?
Well, to your point of like getting a really flat surface, that's very hard to do no matter what medium you're using.
Mm.
And I still struggle with it. But there are kind of techniques and shortcuts and things that you can use to your advantage. That gravity thing is a huge one. When I found that out. Like just working on a slight angle. And that's why a lot of people, paint on drafting desks and stuff like that.
Oh,
Because gravity truly just like pulls it all down and it distributes evenly because that's just how physics works, where all the particles want to live sort of independently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is very cool.
Gotta say, Matt, this is really fun. Thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, thank you for suggesting it in the first place. This is a really nice idea.
I would love to do more of this. I like painting. It's nice. Seems like a nice thing to have a little bit of skill in, you know?
It's very meditative. It's a good place to just sort of run to if you're particularly stressed out or even just want to puzzle through something. Sometimes puzzling through something, which is a huge part of making art, is very satisfying and really helps me out if I'm feeling like frustrated or blocked on some other aspect. Even if I'm working on other art that's like, a gig or something that I'm really struggling with, then I'll just stop that and start working on just a little sketch or a painting or even some frivolous fan art. And I end up feeling so much more free. And usually that leads to, it's kind of that thing of stop looking for the thing you're looking for and you'll find it sort of thing.
Oh, sure. I also know for me as like a creative, at least in comedy, like if all I'm doing is like making jokes, trying to work on a thing, sometimes I just have to like do anything else,
Yes,
and then it's
definitely.
like, okay, it's coming together.
Yeah, switching trajectories to even an adjacent discipline is super helpful.
Yeah,
I tell a
for
lot of
sure.
people who are primarily artists who, struggle with artist block. If you're not inclined to create, just do something else. Watch TV or watch movies that really inspire you.
Yeah.
And that will usually like trigger, or read a really good book or just like escape into something else. Don't force yourself to do the work. And instead give yourself a break and like let yourself just be yourself for a while away from the work, separate yourself. And usually that will inspire you to get back to what you were trying to do in the first place.
I also know for me, consuming like a different form of art helps like the art I'm trying to make. Like if I go to a museum, that's going to help my comedy. Like living my, like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I sort of had like a period of productivity at the start of lockdown, but like, I feel like it's been hard to do comedy because I can't really go out and live my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Ooh, Pulsar. Thank you for the gift subs. Pult a star. Pluta star. I can't read.
It's Pluta from my community. Hi, Pluta.
Oh, they're following the Twitch rules.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I had the neck was good before I ruined it. That's okay.
I'm going to draw this little silhouette. Yeah, in general, I mean, it's been said for a very long time. This is kind of rote at this point, but if you want to create, if you're a writer or an artist or anything in the creative field, doing non-creative things and having a life outside of work is vital because you bring all of that to bear.
Absolutely. What I brought to this painting was I tucked her hair behind one of her ears.
Ooh.
It's my personal touch.
Yeah, you'll know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone who sees it will also understand. Really Subsume, thank you so much for forwarding that gift sub to the community. I really
also following the
appreciate
Twitch
that.
rules.
Also following the Twitch rules. It's important. Okay, one more crow to go, and then I got to do those lines upon the sky.
Yeah, I gotta fix my lines too.
Thank you, Lion. I am still adjusting to the robot saying words in my stream. So it scares me a little bit each time, but it's also very fun.
It's also like kind of weird. Like there's no comfortable way to like deal with it while you're streaming with another person. You know what I mean? It's always just a thing where I have to like nod and be quiet, and then the person on the other end is inevitably talking, and then it's like, well, we got double noise going on. Hope everyone's okay with this, understands what we're working with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they get it. They get it. I think like part of the voice thing is it's a fun game that the audience gets to play.
Yeah.
Not to get too meta with it, but and that everyone understands that that's all part of the process and program. So now I'm going to do those lines in the sky, and I'm trying to think of the best way to do this without making an absolute mess. I'll try to do it this way. No, it's not even going to remotely work. I'm just going to freehand it. Why not? I'm a madman.
Speaking of, I might get this Crayola marker and draw this crow in the sky. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Feels a little wild, but...
Well, I'm going to do something truly bonkers here. Well, outside of the horrible mistake I just made that I'm just going to accept as part of the process.
Shit.
But I'm going to dip my brush into my dip pen ink, which is something I haven't done before. And I'm a little scared to do, not going to lie, but we'll see how it goes. That. How do those lines in the sky work again? Oh, okay. The one that goes down and then the one that goes across.
Okay. Crayola time. Oh, amazing! Call me cryptid. Matt, can I put this in your chat? I'm gonna put this in your chat too. They did the same study. It looks so good.
Oh, cool. I want to see.
Okay, I'm putting the link in your chat. Mods, Matt's mods, please don't yell at me.
Yeah, let that link through, mods.
Call me cryptid. It looks so good. I'm gonna try to get it on my stream. If anybody else did the study, let me know. I'm gonna...
I love that Nightbot was like, nope, delete.
Oh, really?
Timeout, Abby.
I tried.
That's okay. It's okay. Hop over to Abby's
Here,
stream chat if you want to see it.
We're gonna do it like this. Should show it off. Call me cryptid. It's so good. Matt, you can look now. I love the blush on the cheeks.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Good dog.
I love that crow at the bottom with the eyes. Very good.
Wow, that's so good. Don't talk about my tabs. How dare you? Look, we all do tabs in our own way. My way is to have 1 million of them. Honestly, I'm proud of this. It ain't perfect, but for my first time doing watercolors and also not really sketching very often, I think this is pretty all right.
Yeah, that's it. Truly,
I think I even fixed her face. I might fuck it up with this whole crow marker situation I'm about to do, but...
Let's see. I'm just dipping directly into my ink now, like a wildman. Very scary.
Okay. I need to go back to your stream so I can see what you're doing, Matt.
Man, this ink is so intense. Okay, there we go.
All right, we got a big fat Crayola marker. Wish me luck, everybody. It's gonna be so dark compared to everything else. It's okay.
All right. Dry brush here. Oh, Pachi, thank you very much for relinking that artwork.
Oh, yeah, thank you. It's Call Me Cryptid. It's their work. They did a great job.
Very good. I like that we're both doing the crow at the top at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's also just like, it's just a big black thing. You know what I mean? Like, the crow at the top doesn't have as much texture as I feel like the one at the bottom does. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of feels like, all right, here we go. Time to just color it in and hope for the best so it doesn't look like a big black blob when the time I'm done.
Exactly.
I love crows. They're so smart.
Yeah, crows rule.
Yeah. I feel like I've already fucked this up.
Little piggy. And there's that other like random crow blob at the top.
Oh yeah, I didn't even kind of miss that one. Okay. Okay, so I kind of fucked up the crow. It's a little bit of a black blob. I lost a lot of the detail, especially in the face and feet, but that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I think you captured the emotion of it, though.
Yeah, I hope so. We're gonna really maybe fuck it up here, but her hair is pretty dark and mine is not dark enough.
Do I ever use Sumi ink? I have never used Sumi ink before. I'm still relatively new to using inks.
What's Sumi ink?
I think it's just a type of Japanese ink.
I use please don't sue me ink. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rear end you. Get it?
Yeah, I get it.
All right, I'm not gonna fuck with this marker anymore because I feel like it's maybe doing damage.
I would like to do more traditional ink stuff where you use like the ink stick and you grind it on the little thingy and then it drips down.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And use the big brushes. I mean, I've got a bunch of calligraphy brushes here. Some really nice antique ones too that I never use. Okay, so I'm gonna clean that and put the cap back on that. And then try.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
So I think it's pretty good overall.
Yeah. You got the second dog in, which I'm jealous about. I really didn't have room. Again, I also just was really going in all in on this paint part. Totally missed the horizon on one side. But that's okay. Your proportions definitely better than mine. Her shoulder's a little low, but I don't think it's like, I think if you just saw mine, it wouldn't be like, what the fuck's happening there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what it looks like, everyone, not sort of angled.
It's a bit of it's a tough nut to crack. It's deceptive, you know? Like, even when you see a painting and you go, there's not that many elements, or like it's color-wise, it's very simple. Like it ain't always like that. There's a lot of complexity. There's a lot of intention. But there's also a lot of improvisation, you know, like not every single thing has to mean something. Sometimes it's just a really fun, frivolous, like jab with a pencil or a pen or a brush.
Yes, and
that's the freedom, you know, that's why we do what we do. I don't know.
No, I hear you.
There's an
feel like you didn't acknowledge my great improv joke. Oh.
That was a very good improv joke, Abby. I'm so glad that you made it, and I'm so glad that we're here right now together. I do mean that. My alarm went off also at the same time that I was talking.
Oh, the stretchy stretch alarm?
Yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a stretch.
Gotta stretch. Here. I missed the last one.
Stretch it up, stretch style.
A lot of people in my chat didn't realize it was a dog in the picture for the second dog.
Oh. Ow.
I think I'm gonna use my marker and sort of color in the second crow a little bit, just because I feel like it'll add some balance to my drawing.
I love those big chunky Crayola markers. I've always been a fan of.
Me too.
Like weird triangular tips. I used to love writing something really thin with the top part and then turning them slightly to the side on that 45-degree and just going bonkers with them.
Oh, yeah.
You can get some really good dry brush effects with them, too.
Well, I'm trying.
It's always a good idea if you're ever working with, especially older markers that you just want to reuse and repurpose. If they're getting like semi-dry and they're not completely dry, great for dry brush effects. I still have an old Sharpie that I like to use when I want that really nice sort of spotty black effect. Also, for those who were trying to make the robot voice talk, I don't think people heard the robot voice because of the sound settings I had to change just as we started the stream. But I've changed the browser source so that it's now in OBS. No one cares about this, but I'm just letting people know that you might be able to hear the robot lady. Actually, let me test it out because I can do that for free. Test widgets, why don't I?
You can also replay them in your OBS, which I always forget about, but... Oh, I think... Did I get a subscription before I missed? I don't think so.
Let me know if that worked.
So I said dog in the foreground also looks like great. Thank you so much.
You got a good dog. What can I say?
I'm happy with the dog. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch it anymore too much because I feel like we're sort of there with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely very close. I like those pencil touches that you're doing there.
Thank you.
Pencil goes over top much smoother than pen, I've learned tonight. And don't really ever want to do dip pen over gouache again.
Yeah, I also feel like hers, I'm sure she used charcoal or something, but I feel like it has pencil energy, you know?
Yes, yeah. I feel like especially down in the chaps, feels like something leans slightly on its side.
Those mysterious chaps.
Like a blunt edge. Which definitely charcoal fits that description.
I like your bailing on I'm not going to shorten description.
That's one of my best jokes.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder if you would have to use a fixative after doing that. Because I know for a lot of charcoal drawings or chalk pastel, you got to use a fixative. Otherwise, that stuff will just rub off on everything.
Oh, that makes sense.
I'd like to try more pastels at some point. I love how chalk pastels look, but they're so darn expensive.
Yeah. I say yeah as though I've ever bought one in my life, but yeah, I relate to this.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Anywho, I'm just enjoying watching you go now. The horizon that disappears on the other side is very dark.
It's fine. You can see the line now. I didn't draw it dark enough. Okay. Yeah, it's also hers, people are talking about how much bigger hers is too, for the charcoal or whatever she used.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more of her works in, person is a tall ask, but more photographs of the full panels. Because it is impossible to gauge when you see the works presented like this. I want to see the full size of it.
Me too. I want to own one.
Yeah.
There's one on eBay. It's not my favorite of her work, but it's on there. If it still is. And I think it's 5,000 or something. It's in the range that's realistically never going to buy it. But it's almost affordable. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not 30,000 or something, or $1 million. I'm gonna Google it. Oh, there's a signed. Oh no, not. It's a plate. Did she actually sign it, or anyway? Here's original Donna Howell sickles. Oh, this is pretty good. It's $8,500. Damn, it's really good too.
That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. It's a lady laughing on a horse holding a bunch of apples. I really love how this person staged it. They put a green apple outside the picture too, so it's like it fell out of the frame. It's pretty good. If you Google original Donna Howell sickles on eBay, you'll probably find it. I don't have a P.O. box, but if anyone wants to send it to me.
No one wants to send me an $8,000?
Hello. I wonder how big it is. This doesn't really say. Oh, here it is. 50 by 36. Okay, mixed paper. Anyway. Enemy Mouse says only 800,000 bits. Bit goal. Anyway, I think I'm done.
Finished up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're drawing something else. You're just starting over?
And just starting to draw a little crow because I really like the way that she draws crows.
Me too. I think
they look
draws
very
dogs.
like the one on the blanket looks very pet-like, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, me too. I gotta say, I am proud of this dog. I fucking nailed this dog, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's
and like
exactly
every
right.
single figure, like aside from this crow in this drawing, is at just the wildest, hardest to draw angle possible.
I know.
And like the fact that you nailed it. You got the likenesses. Like,
yeah,
it's good. It's damn good.
Thanks. I'm feeling good. As someone who doesn't like do this, I'm proud of myself. We gotta do this again.
Yeah,
Matt, is there like an affordable like watercolor set like this I could get with like maybe primary colors?
It's been a long time since I bought a set, but I always recommend Winsor & Newton gouache. So I would say the Winsor & Newton you can get a tiny little caddy watercolor set, great to travel with. It has like even a little mixing pan right there in the lid. So I would recommend that one.
Great.
Probably find one for like 20 bucks, 20, 30 bucks.
All right. Maybe I'll look into it because I would love to do more of these if you would be around.
Yes, please. I'm always around for art.
Also, not down with the person saying that crow beak, though. Look, I was using a Crayola marker. We've already acknowledged
hey,
it.
listen, we're not in a critique
nice words or no words.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Donna Howell Sickles is in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame, and now I'm looking at the artifacts they have in the museum. That's so cool. Anyway, that's Be Glad talking there.
That rocks.
Cool. All right, great. I'm feeling good. Should we find someone to raid?
Let's do it.
I was almost like, Matt's on. We'll raid Matt.
Do it.
Yeah.
Who should we go for?
I'm gonna raid Funke Fly because
let's do it.
Funke rules. Okay. They are streaming Resident Evil 5, which is fun. Okay, here we go. Yeah, thank you to the mods. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to everyone who subscribed and followed and watched, etc. Anyway, that's kind of it for me.
Thank you so much for having me on, Abby, and thank me for having you on me. This was an absolute blast. I can't wait to do some more painting with you in the future. Or,
me too.
Whatever, but I really do. I mean, anyone who listened to me ramble tonight knows I love talking about this stuff. And I guess it's always nice to have an opportunity to talk to someone who's not as mired in it as most of my peers are, because they're all tired of listening to me say these things. So, yeah, thanks.
And I just absorb it like a sponge. All right, gonna fade to black now. See you later. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Let's go.